Hello everybody, this is Tigitar here, and welcome back to another Terraria video. We are back on Tigaria here for another update episode, which we haven't had in a long time, but I wanted to show off what progress has been made. So last episode we had basically the core done, right around this much of the base kind of. We have the central frame here with the welcome bits, a few of the main display areas here, and then as I've had for a while now, the crafting and storage right down below here. Since that update, I did actually upload a video, but it was just a time lapse with no commentary or anything. I made this statue of Tigitar himself down here, and it turned out really cool. I'll just briefly kind of go over it here. Right now I have the lights all off, so it's a completely dark room down here, but I have a couple of switches right down at the very bottom where we can sort of light it up and see it in real scale here. Obviously, it looks a little more cohesive from the map view where we can see it all at once, but it's kind of cool just to fly around and look at the scale in person as well, I guess. But let's go ahead and head back to the start here, and I'll go over the main addition since last episode after the statue, is the mini biome builds, or maybe the augmented biome builds. So I basically blasted out a large chunk of land on both the left and right sides of the core here, and I've kind of established actual endpoints or outside edges of the world build, not the world build, base build. And so I'm planning on hopefully containing all the rest of the display builds that I want within this sort of area between these two outer angled monoliths. Let's just real quick try to fly over, and I don't have quick transport set up yet to get out there, so I just have to fly, but pretty soon I'll have to add in the teleporter system to actually quickly travel to these further out reaches of the base. And it is nighttime right now, so it's a little bit tougher to see some of it, but here's the monolith in person, and it's actually kind of neat. During the day, there is a lot of ambient lighting that shines through because I left little holes in the walls here. So although it's not really an explorable feature, really, during the day it does get illuminated and you can see it quite clearly. Between these monoliths, we can see the augmented biome builds. So I basically put together a whole bunch of these enclosures where I then filled in manually the various biomes. And I tried to add bits of variation to make them a little bit more interesting or add little bits of depth to them that the natural biomes don't already have. And then I also tried to include a minecart rail that runs continuously between all of the biomes. And so it's kind of a quick way to get a tour and a view of all the various sections. And then below, in the very center bottom of the base, is the underworld here. And I haven't connected yet the minecart rail with between these zones, but eventually, as I may have mentioned far in the past, I would really like to have the minecart rail continue through the whole base itself to give you like a continuous flowing tour of the whole thing. I think that would be really cool. That's a future me problem. But for now, I'd like to give you a quick tour, and I think I'll just try to ride the minecart rail to show off the biomes. Now, in each biome, there is a switch hidden somewhere in, or actually technically a lever, hidden somewhere within the biome that turns on and off the additional lights. I did try to stay relatively close to the natural generation of the biome, and I added as many features as I possibly could from natural generation. Some of them may have been tweaked slightly or condensed or like shrunk down to fit, but mostly I had a decent amount of space to include most of the features I wanted to do. But in addition to the natural features, I came up with a few of my own to add texture and flavor and color, such as this little tower. It actually turned out really cool in the desert biome here. This is one of my favorite parts of this little section. So this one, the entrance will start from here, and like I said, hopefully in the future I can connect this from the main part of the base, pick up on the track here, which is already in place, and then ride along and enjoy the view of the biomes. Now I have some little breaks and falls here and there, especially, well, mainly in the corruption there, that drop you down to the lower level, and then a series of jumps, and tried to make some creative tracks to keep things interesting and give a cool tour of the biomes, is basically all there is to it. You'll notice a lot of the background has been sort of manually jumbled together from pieces of wall that I actually could obtain. And some biomes I was able to use the natural world background for. This is mainly speaking about the underground biomes, like the mushroom and the jungle are two examples that I actually was able to use the underground background biome for, or not biome, but background world background per se. Here's the mushroom one. And that was very nice, but a lot of them I had to come up with my own finish off in the mushroom biome here. And there are quite a few of custom mushrooms that I sort of tried to come up with here. I especially like the minecart track. Uh-oh, goblins coming. How, oh wait, they're already here. Jeez, those are fast goblins. But the minecart, how it bounces on the bouncy blocks, which I made mushrooms out of, I discovered that feature and really enjoyed trying to put that to the test. And then let's head over to the right side and do the same thing. Now on this one, the cart will start here in the granite slash marble section, but it looks like I have the lights off, so maybe I'll run through and turn the lights on real quick in each of these sections so that we can get a more complete picture of what they've got to offer. Alright, and looks like I don't have booster rails here, so 1 second. And looks like my booster rails are not even in storage because I'm currently working on a different project with them. Turns out I could have just grabbed them from my Defender's Forge while I was over there. Perfect. Another thing I will mention, the minecart track is regulated at a certain speed, and it's designed for you to be going exactly 41 miles per hour. If I turn the movement speed thing on, you'll be able to see that. And that's the speed that you get up to after getting boosted by exactly 2 booster rails. And so that way I can have features where I stop you by hitting a wall and drop down, such as in the corruption on the other side. And then the minecart will pick up using 2 booster rails at the precise speed that I want to be going. And it's a speed where it is quick just to traverse everything. Like, you can't quite stop and examine all the details, but it gets you through, and it's not actually full speed, even as the basic minecart goes. So it does give you a little better time to at least get a glimpse of the biomes and everything that you're seeing. Going into the underground hallow. Here's another spot where I really took advantage of the bouncy features of the slime blocks, the pink slime blocks. Here's a fun jump here that goes actually all the way under the water in the surface snow biome, and then we will continue eventually back looping towards the main base, or I plan to anyway. That was actually a cool trick I figured out with the snow biome here. If you look closely, there's actually not water here next to the blocks which actuate to let the minecart through. And the way I did that is with bubble blocks, or not bubble blocks, but bubbles. When you place them, liquid can't pass through them. And so I just simply echo painted them, and that way I can have a secret door underneath the water without letting the water out every time I open it. But that pretty much wraps up most of the biomes. We only have one left, and that's the underworld to go check out. So let's swing down there. As I mentioned at the start, I'm planning on filling in this in-between section with more display areas. Same thing with these sort of curved wings on the side here. I plan on doing various display sections down in here where there's not a whole ton of space, but there should be enough to do certain things, like maybe like ores and bars or certain types of items like that, stuff that lends itself to the underground as well. And here we get to the underworld. It was probably one of the ones that I added the most uniqueness to. This tower in the center obviously was inspired from Lord of the Rings, Barad-dûr, with the Eye of Sauron on top. I just sort of, the idea came to me as I was thinking of what shape would fit in here. Oh yeah, here's where I put the switch on top of this crate. That'll light things up a little bit here. The meteorite furniture fits quite well with sort of the magmatic theme of the underworld. And then from the left, let's see if I left the booster rails in place. I did. Okay, so here's where the track will take you through the underworld, and it mostly just kind of loops up and hooks onto the ceiling because I didn't want to mess with navigating underground through the lava and stuff like that. As with all the other ones, it is navigatable on foot with a fresh character, so I made sure that all these bridges were in place, and even the broken up one here, which I was inspired from the original underworld in Circuit Terra to do a similar sort of collapsed bridge. You can cross this with a basic character, no problem, either just by jumping on the platform bits or by using the chain actions. Another major inspiration, there's a few of them that followed from Circuit Terra, would be the underground faces in the lava here. Basically, that's the biome update that I've got for you today. You may notice that I haven't added the floating islands, and that's, I believe, about the last thing left to go as far as biomes. But I'm planning on including those ones further up here. We actually see this natural one kind of blending in like it's supposed to be there, so I could possibly even leave that there or maybe alter it a little bit and simply build an island pool on this side to match it, or oppose it rather. Or I might include smaller versions that are sort of tucked into the monolith or something like that, but I do plan on including the floating islands some way or another. Basically, that here will be the update to the base as it stands right now. Hopefully you found that fun and interesting. Before we close, I do want to share the song of the episode, which is going to be Nothing New by The Strike. Strike is a sort of synthwave new band that I recently discovered, and I actually like a whole ton of their songs, but Nothing New in particular is a really, really cool one. It's got some outstanding saxophone in it. So if you're interested, be sure to go check that one out. Other than that, I think that will do it. I hope you guys really enjoyed the video, and I hope you have an outstanding rest of your day. Unlike these goblins, which I've already killed like 2 waves of today.